breaking news on WFLA Now. Here's JB Biunno.
Just a day after shattering the national record for COVID-19 cases reported in a single day in a single state, Florida seeing another 12,600 new cases reported, plus 8 on your side getting new data on hospitalizations in Florida and hospital bed availability in the Tampa Bay area. We're breaking it down here live, everybody on WFLA Now. Hey there to you, JB Biunno here with you live across our social media platforms, our app, and our website here on WFLA Now, being joined by 8 on your side investigator Mahsa Saeidi, who's been, of course, leading the way here, talking about coronavirus in the state of Florida, testing, and the data and information that you need to know to keep you and your family safe. As we continue combing through the numbers here, Mahsa, it seems like we see these 2 to 3 day bunches where we see elevated numbers. We had of course, the astronomical numbers just 24 hours ago, and in the 11 a.m. update, another 12,600 plus cases. We have this story available for you right now, everybody, on WFLA.com. You can read it. It's in the link in the comment section and in the description on this video. The health department saying that there was 112,000 people tested yesterday, Mahsa, and that the percent positivity, or the percent positive, was 12.9%. So that's a little bit of a downtick from the last couple of days, but still, when we're talking about 100,000 plus people being tested, we're talking about another 12,000 plus being positive here. This is still the ongoing trend of what we've seen in recent weeks. Florida continuing to lead the country lately in COVID-19 cases.
Yeah, and JB, I just want to stress that Florida, we didn't just break our own record this weekend. We broke the national record. 15,300 cases in just a single day. And yes, it is true that Florida has massively increased testing, but we're also seeing that positivity rate, the percentage of people coming back positive, that is in the double digits. So it's a very different situation than what we had as we were starting to reopen the state, when we were seeing our positivity rate be about 4, 5, 6% of the people who were tested coming back positive. Now we are seeing that number be in the double digits. And JB, we shattered a national record this weekend, and we just cannot, stress that. And again, today you said 12,000, more than 12,000 cases.
Yep,
I hadn't seen that.
12,000, yeah.
Is that the second highest that we've had?
That is the second highest. So yesterday, of course, reporting the record here in the state of Florida. Now an additional 12,000 right behind that. We'll see, of course, where this trend, listen, we want to see the trend obviously continue downward. The percent positivity, of course, the number of positive cases in comparison to the number of those tested, Mahsa, of course, being so critically important to how we evaluate this data under the microscope. And 12.9%, coming down a little bit from last week when we were in the high teens. So actually, we had one day where we were at 20%.
Are you talking about percent positive or percent positivity?
Percent positive, excuse me.
Okay.
And then the percent positivity, and the percent positivity for new cases. Now, that's the percent positivity is new cases, right? The number of people who tested positive for the first time divided by all the people that day. That's down to about 11.51%.
So about what it was yesterday, where it was 11.25. Yeah.
Yep, it was. So right in the middle of that 11% range. So,
and even Governor DeSantis will tell you that is not the number that you want to see. You want to see that go down to single digits, to 4%, to 5%. That's how you know that no matter how many people are coming back, no matter positive, no matter how many cases that you have, it's important to know that percentage. That's how you know the real situation of what's happening, along with the hospitalization data.
We're going to be getting to some of your comments. Everybody use the hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyMahsa in the comment section. You see it here on the left and the right side of your screen, underneath my name, underneath Mahsa's name. We're going to be reading through some of your comments here momentarily, everybody, to get an idea as to what you're thinking out there. And one of the things we're also doing on Facebook, specifically on Facebook, is running a WFLA Now interactive poll asking you, who deserves the most responsibility for this recent COVID-19 spike here in the state of Florida? Where do you place the responsibility? And we have several different options here that we gave you. Governor DeSantis and state leaders. Is it the 25 to 34 age group? Is it anti-mask and anti-distancing people? Or is it just all of us collectively, all Floridians collectively, including the governor, everybody here in the state of Florida shouldering some part of the responsibility for what we're experiencing with the COVID-19 increase? We'll be getting to your poll results. We're going to be getting to your questions here momentarily. Another thing I want to talk about is hospitalizations, Mahsa. I know that you're tracking down some new information today regarding specifically hospitalizations in the Tampa Bay area and what people need to know about Tampa, Hillsborough County, Pinellas County, Polk County, Pasco, all the counties in the Tampa Bay area.
Yes, so JB, as you know, all along, Florida had been reporting the cumulative number of people from the start of this that had been hospitalized. So last check from my memory was 14,000 or something like that. If you want to pull up the dashboard, that's fine while I'm talking, JB. But one of the things that journalists really fought for, so I see it was 18,500. Since the beginning, people that had been hospitalized, but that just tells you from the beginning. So we really had no way of knowing exactly how many people were hospitalized right now currently. And new information that JB just put up, this is from the Agency for Healthcare Administration. And what JB has it on right now, if you can go to the tab. Sure. If you can go to on the top to the COVID hospitalizations by county, because this is the new information that we were just that just was released by the state. And earlier, my internet is down right now, so forgive me. But earlier, I pulled up all the numbers for the Tampa Bay area. And for example, let's see, in Hillsborough. Well, first overall,
295 here.
Okay, 295 people currently hospitalized in Hillsborough County for coronavirus. And
Pinellas 223. Yeah, I know it's a little bit small on your screen. Sarasota 129. Polk County 142. So these are hospitalizations with a primary diagnosis of COVID.
Right.
So this is the new part of this that we're really just getting to see publicly for the first time, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So before we knew the ICU capacity. So we know, for example, that in general, Polk County has 161 adult ICU beds. And we know as of this morning, as of 11 a.m., 160 of those beds were at capacity. But this new information that we just obtained tells us that 142 beds, those are coronavirus patients. So 142 coronavirus patients hospitalized and the 160 beds in Polk County.
So this is new information, everybody, that we're combing through, and Mahsa's going to be bringing it all together for you in her reports. Well, when can people watch you, Mahsa, tonight?
I believe I'm on at 6 o'clock, and sorry, I'm a little flustered. My photographer, Jim, is helping me set up my internet right now. Okay, so go ahead. Yeah, I think I'm on at 6 o'clock.
So 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock tonight. We're going to be getting to your poll results. We're going to be getting to some of your hashtag comments. Anything else, Mahsa, before we start reading through some comments here on Facebook Live? Because I see a bunch of them with the hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyMahsa. They're already coming in here.
Yeah, the final thing that I would just say is it is incredibly important. It's wonderful that we now know not only how many ICU beds we have, but how many coronavirus patients are in ICU. So this is just really important information to have as we try to understand what the numbers mean. And you know, JB, you could argue about what the numbers mean all day long.
WFLA Now, WFLA top Facebook fan, one of our top Facebook fans, Chris Longteen, hashtag HJB. Maybe, Mahsa, maybe you can clarify this a little bit. If you're tested positive for antibodies, I'm hearing that gets counted as a positive COVID-19 case. Why not separate those? So
I'm not sure if that's true. That's really getting in the weeds, and I'm not sure if you're I don't want to say something inaccurate, but I believe from my memory of having covered this, I don't think the antibodies, they count that in that number. At last check, they change how they calculate the number and the data all the time.
Yeah, very fluid situation. WFLA top Facebook fan Deb Norris, hashtag HJB. Everyone is shouldering responsibility. However, can't help but feel that politics playing a huge role as elected officials want to be reelected so that they work on the economy over public health. Seems completely ridiculous. Told not to form large groups, and we are hosting conventions and opening theme parks and schools. We opened too soon and should be listening to Dr. Fauci. So that's the comment there from Deb Norris with the hashtag HeyJB. Deb, one of our top Facebook fans here on WFLA Now, and a lot to unpack there with that one particular comment. But referencing the Republican National Convention, which again is slated for August in Jacksonville, Florida, talking about how theme parks, and Disney just reopened. So in addition to Universal and other theme parks in the Central Florida area being opened up. And then Dr. Fauci, of course, being in so many headlines over the last 36 hours, especially. But Yeah, there are a lot of folks out there that really believe that politics is playing too much of a role, or way too much of a role, in what we're experiencing as far as the response of COVID-19 in Florida and across the United States.
Yes, 67 counties here in Florida, and depending on what city you're in, depending on which county you're in, there is a different rule when it comes to wearing a mask, when it comes to restaurants. There is no mandate from the top. So the governor is really allowing the county leaders and the city leaders to make these tough calls. He is not saying from the top, everyone in Florida must wear a mask. And as you said, JB, that is, for whatever reason, has become a hot button issue.
Jillian Pack, hashtag Hey Mahsa, why are they just releasing the ICU and admissions now?
Huh. Great question. Who is this, Jillian?
Jillian Pack.
Jillian, it is such a good question that you're asking. I don't know. I mean, all along, this has been the case where Florida dumps all these numbers out, and journalists, as we take a look at it, whether we're talking about nursing homes, whether we're talking about coronavirus numbers, whether we're talking about hospitalizations, we start to look at the data and we're like, wait, Florida, you told us how many people are in ICU right now, but you're not telling us why they're in ICU. Do they have cancer? Were they in a car accident? And, so we don't know why they, finally decided to release this information. Certainly the governor was asked about this over and over again. A lot of journalists wanted to know not just how many ICU beds we have, but how many coronavirus patients are in ICU. And now we have that data. So it's a good thing.
We've got a lot of comments. We were reading comments straight out of the Facebook Live comment section. I think we got another about 5 or so minutes with Mahsa, or another 10. What do you got with this, Mahsa? Because Mahsa's.
I have another 7. I have another 8 minutes. So you can call him, set it all up, and I'll run in. Yeah. Okay.
Joy Matthews, hashtag Hey JB. I think Mahsa should investigate whether or not they're counting antibodies as new cases. There's conflicting info out there, so maybe you can add that to your list, Mahsa, of things that people are wondering about.
Yep.
Susie Lenzen, hashtag Hey JB. Did you hear that Hong Kong Disney is closing? And yes, we just had that story for you published on WFLA.com and the WFLA app. So for those of you who haven't heard, the Disneyland in Hong Kong is now closing again. And why is that important? Because it sets a precedent for perhaps an additional wave of closures from Disney. And if they're closing it in one part of the world, that doesn't mean that they can't close it elsewhere in the world. So whether or not they're going to be looking at additional closures or closing back up again in states like California, or of course here in Florida, remains to be seen. But that is an important piece of information regarding Disney and what's happening on the other side of the world over there in Hong Kong. So that story available to you right now on WFLA's app and on WFLA.com. Again, reading your comments, everybody, with the hashtag HeyJB or hashtag HeyMahsa. If you use one of those hashtags, that signals to us here at WFLA Now that you would like for us to read your comment aloud. We only read comments that are, that aren't inflammatory or that don't contain any inappropriate language.
So be nice.
Yes, that's pretty much how you sum it up. As Mahsa said, just be nice. Vito Sanzo, a WFLA top Facebook fan, hashtag HeyJB. Politics over medical. Just ask the governor. So there's been some negative comments here towards Governor DeSantis. Edwin Tubbins Jr., hashtag Hey Mahsa. The governor's fault for opening too soon is the comment from Edwin here.
The governor had said he was looking at the data, he was looking at all the information, this was a methodical approach, and when he started to reopen, frankly, our numbers were looking okay, a lot better than now, certainly.
Yep, and then all of a sudden things began to swing in the wrong direction, and Governor DeSantis' comments, everybody, in recent weeks has now swayed to really targeting that 25 to 34 age demographic, saying that's where we're seeing, and the data does show that the 25 to 34 is increasing the most. And while we're seeing that increase the most, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're seeing as many hospitalizations in that age group. It's more likely for, of course, people in that age group, 25 to 34, even the 35 to 44 age demo, for there to be more asymptomatic people or people with mild symptoms rather than severe symptoms that would require hospitalization. So very, very important to note that. We do have our WFLA Now interactive poll up, everybody. And if you hang out with us for about 5 minutes on Facebook Live, it'll pop up on your device and you can vote in our poll. We're asking you, who deserves the most responsibility for Florida's COVID-19 spike? We give you four options: Governor DeSantis and state leaders, the 25 to 34 age group, anti-mask and anti-distance people, or just all Floridians collectively. We'll be getting to your results here momentarily. Christy Weaver Evans, hashtag HeyJB. It just seems like we don't have efficient leadership. They are leaving local governments to figure it out. And Mahsa, that's something that we've talked about quite a bit on WFLA Now, is how in certain respects, such as the beaches, opening up the beaches, right? Or closing the beaches, opening the beaches, that was something that was delegated to a county by county or region level, that wasn't, Governor DeSantis never said the beaches had to close, or whether or not he even had the power to close all beaches across the state. That was something that was also right. He could have made a recommendation, absolutely. But taking the approach of we're going to, treat this based on region or based on county has been widely discussed.
And what Governor DeSantis has said about that is Florida is an incredibly diverse state. Each of those 67 counties have, very different conditions on the ground. The coronavirus situation in every single county has been different. Now, in recent days, we are seeing an uptick across the board. But the governor had specifically said, here's the information, here's the data. We're going to let the people in those counties make the decision of what is best for that specific county. So in general, he's been against, a mandate from the top, treating all counties and all cities the same. He said that really wasn't necessary in the beginning, especially. You would see very low number of cases in certain counties. So he believed that this was a better way to approach the situation. But on the other side of it, you hear people say, we need a very strong message from the top. We need everyone to be wearing a mask, because obviously you can cross from one county into the other very easily, JB.
Again, JB Biunno, Mahsa Saeidi here with you live on WFLA Now, getting to some of your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyMahsa comments here. Let's see here. Terry Noel Diezo, a WFLA top Facebook fan. Hi there to you, Terry. Thanks for spending part of your Monday afternoon with us. Hashtag HeyJB. Where can we be tested in Hernando County if we have no insurance or referral for testing?
I'll look it up right now.
Thank you, Mahsa. I'll read some more comments here in the meantime.
She said Hernando County?
Hernando County.
Okay, for free.
And I think that we have that on WFLA.com too, right? And on our app.
Probably.
But Mahsa's going to look it up for you here, Terry. Raquel Hargrove, hashtag HeyJB. The numbers are continuing to spike high. Why are they continuing to consider children going back to school? School is now becoming more prominent of a conversation. As a reminder, we're going to tell folks to make sure that you are really honed in on what your child's district is doing. But there's so much more to that than just paying attention to what your district is doing, because there's so many teachers, so many staff members, administrators, in addition to kids. All of that coming full circle now that we are in the second half of 2020, with the 2020-2021 school year getting underway next month, or as scheduled to get underway next month. There are so many questions that need to be answered, and that brings me to Nadine Frankel-Turman's hashtag HeyJB comment. She put hashtag HeyJB, read this, all true, and then she had questions for school openings, and it was very, very well thought out, with about 5 or 6 really, really important, pertinent questions regarding school openings. And schools, everybody, we're going to be doing a lot more interactive streams like this one, where we're going to be talking about schools specifically and addressing some of the pressing questions that you have about how different. Remember, the governor is going to be has released recommendations for how to go about reopening school, but it falls on every district, every county, to put in an action plan in place to keep kids and keep staff members safe. And we're going to be doing more focused on schools in the weeks ahead here, everybody. But there are a lot of parents that do not want to send their kids to school when things get resumed in August. Mahsa.
So just to answer the question for that one viewer, there is no state-supported testing site in Hernando County, unfortunately. So I just looked up on floridadisaster.org, so that is not the case. And as far as why are the schools reopening, well, you have the American Academy of Pediatrics that made the case for reopening the schools, talking about all the things that schools provide to our children and how dangerous it is to allow them to continue to stay at home. So there's no 100% safe thing to do here, but it's a balancing act. So I believe that's why they're making that decision. I got to hop off in about 3 minutes.
No, actually, photojournalist Jim Hockett was just flagging that they need you now, Mahsa. So
Okay.
Mahsa Saeidi, everybody is getting ready, doing several interviews via Skype and via FaceTime.
Oh,
and
actually, he said it's fine. 12:40. I can be here till 12:40. We're good.
Oh, 12:40.
Yeah, I have 6 more minutes.
So you got another 6 minutes.
Yep.
Mahsa's been has a very busy schedule of Skype interviews with all the right people that we need to be getting answers from. So we're very mindful here of all the interviews that Mahsa has on her calendar. So Mahsa can stick around with us here for another few minutes.
Professor just emailed me back and said 12:40 is fine. So anyway.
There you go. All right. Let's see here. WFLA top Facebook fan, Mike Gibson, hashtag Hey Mahsa. I seriously believe our kids should not be going back to school until after Labor Day. Do you agree? Let's give the virus a chance to run its course. And as a reminder, we usually, we don't share our opinions here. We just try to share good information with everybody and based on what we're covering here in the Tampa Bay area. But Mahsa, Mike here is saying doesn't think that kids should be going back to school until after Labor Day.
Well, that the really great thing about the plans and all the various school districts is that if you as a parent do not feel comfortable with having your child go back to school with the plan they have in place, whether it's wearing a mask, whether it's going to school 2 days a week, you can continue distance learning in most of the districts. At least that is my understanding. So absolutely, if for whatever reason you as a parent decide that I do not want my child in this atmosphere, whether it's that you're concerned for your child, if they have some sort of a health issue that might put them at greater risk, or maybe you live in a multi-generational household, you can certainly make that choice for yourself. But as JB said, we as journalists, we don't have opinions, so.
We don't, but we are trying to, share good information based on what elected officials and appointed individuals have been telling us here in the past several days, past several weeks. Dana Young, hashtag HJB, how about interviewing hospital personnel live? Show us the sick people, show us the hospitals almost at capacity. Some believe this is political. Personally, I've known 2 people who have tested positive for COVID and felt completely healthy. That's the hashtag HJB comment from Dana Young. So it's not as simple as just interviewing somebody at a hospital live, like a hospital employee. It's not that simple. There are so many different, here in the media, we have to go through so many different appropriate channels to interview somebody who works at a hospital. There are so many rules and regulations that protect the identities and protect the opinions of not just hospital workers, but also, of course, anybody. HIPAA rules, HIPAA policy that prevents us from talking to somebody unless they give us their explicit permission. So it's not as just simple as we can't just go into a hospital with our camera on and just start shooting video of people.
You can if you want to get arrested.
Yeah, if you want to get arrested, you absolutely could do that.
They call the wrong headlines.
Yeah, so it's not that simple, Dana, but we are always interviewing people. We've been interviewing people here for weeks who have contracted COVID, people who have been with our local hospital system, and that's why we encourage you to watch WFLA News Channel 8 and then check out the stories after they're posted on WFLA.com.
And just so everyone
the
knows,
WFLA app. Yep.
I always try to interview these folks. In the past 15 minutes, I did email another hospital asking to speak with someone. It's hard, they're busy, and they don't always make them available to speak with us for whatever reason.
Christy Weaver Evans following up hashtag AJB. They're giving parents a choice, but what about teachers? Teachers don't have a choice. Regarding schools, of course, everybody. Yeah, teachers are in such a precarious situation, and hopefully we'll be able to continue talking to teachers on WFLA in the days ahead. Susan Ward, hashtag AJB. What do the majority of teachers have to say? It's a great question, and we'll of course be staying on that story, everybody, in the days and weeks ahead. Melly, hashtag Hey Mahsa, it's not an option if they open our state completely. People will be fired for not coming to work and lose health insurance. You have to work if called in.
That's very, very true. Thank you for correcting me. That's right. If you're a parent and both of you are working, or if you're a single parent and you might not have the ability to keep your child at home depending on their age. So it's a tough situation, and thank you for pointing that out. I have to go.
All right, everybody.
Thank you so much. I love being here with you guys. JB's a rock star. Thanks, guys.
Everybody, 8 on your sides. Mahsa Saeidi, catch her tonight, we believe, on News Channel 8 at 6 o'clock. JB Biunno here with you live, everybody, on WFLA Now. We're going to another 5 minutes or so of questions and comments, and then we'll reveal the results of our interactive poll when we're asking you. And maybe why don't we get some comments on this using the hashtag HeyJB. Let's get some comments on this, specifically on this question. Who deserves the most responsibility for Florida's COVID-19 spike? I'm just gonna. How about just the open-ended version of that? Governor DeSantis. I've read some here in the comment section. Many commenting Governor DeSantis, but some others that have commented that the protests and the demonstrations that contributed. The 25 to 34 age group has contributed. All the people going to the beaches, has that contributed? Let's hear from you. We want to read some of your comments and asking you, who do you think deserves the most responsibility? The most. Now, I think you could say that there's probably some responsibility that could go to Pool A or Pool B or Pool C. But again, the question is, who deserves the most responsibility for Florida's COVID-19 spike? I'm going to be reading through only the comments on the Facebook Live, in the Facebook Live comment section that have the hashtag HeyJB. That hashtag signals to us that you would like for us to read your name and your comment aloud here in the comment section. Alan Gaither, I think it's Gaither, Alan. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your last name correct there, and apologies that if I'm not. Hashtag HeyJB, it's the people's fault themselves for being careless. Dawn Shacky or Shake. I'm sorry, Don. That's another tough one. I'm getting some tough last names here today. Hashtag HeyJB in big capital letters. Everyone is responsible. Lori Klinman Renda, hashtag HeyJB. Can you get corona more than once? The answer to that is yes. There have been some people that have contracted COVID-19 more than once. And as a reminder, there are so many different strains that exist out there and mutations of the virus that we don't really, I don't think, fully understand yet with how rapidly spreading COVID-19 is. But yes, there have been people that have contracted the virus more than once. Lisa Rogers, hashtag HeyJB, believe it's the people of Florida. Edwin Tubbins Jr., hashtag HeyJB, thinks it's the governor. Melody LaFave, hashtag HeyJB, Governor DeSantis, opening too soon, is the comment there. Sharon Tannenbaum, hashtag HeyJB, why is that important? We need to start doing right now, doing the right things. And that's a great point, Sharon. And we've done some interactive polls, everybody here, in recent weeks about what you think needs to be done. Today, we always try to present you with a different question every day. And today's question is, who do you think is most responsible for Florida's COVID-19 spike? Because we don't learn from the mistakes of the past, and I mean like the immediate past, the last several weeks and last several months. If we don't learn from those mistakes, how can we expect the back end of 2020 to be any better than the first end of 2020? We need to start learning from some of the mistakes that we have made, to whether or not it's from a political standpoint, whether or not it's from a societal standpoint. We need to start learning from these mistakes and understanding them and putting effective solutions in place so that we get better and get past this together collectively. And that's one of the reasons why we're asking this question today, and that question being, who do you believe that deserves the most responsibility right now for Florida's COVID-19 spike? One of the options that we didn't present you with, but Barbara Hughes, hashtag HeyJB, says Trump is responsible. That's the opinion of Barbara Hughes with the hashtag HeyJB in the comment section. Let's see here. Christy Weaver Evans chiming in again, hashtag HeyJB. DeSantis is more responsible because of his lack of leadership. People need leadership. Yes, everyone is responsible, but leadership is more responsible for opening too soon. That's the comment from Christy Evans there in the Facebook Live comment section. WFLA top Facebook fan, Kat Hart, hashtag HeyJB. Those of us who have followed social distancing and masks and washing hands and staying home are not to blame. It is the politicians opening the beaches, Memorial Day weekend, etc. DeSantis can do the right thing and shut us down and stop saying this will go away, because it won't. WFLA Top Facebook fan Doris Rodriguez, hashtag AJB. The president, the governor, but mostly the people, they are not using masks or social distancing. That's the comment there. Have a lot of comments coming in here, everybody, on Facebook Live. JB Biunno here with you live for another few minutes. I want to read as many of these comments as possible. And if I miss your comment, if they scroll through on my screen very, very quickly, and I apologize. I try to read as many of your great comments as possible. But if I miss it, just put it back in the comment section. I'll try to catch it on the second time around. Jessica Riordan, hashtag AJB, are we getting a second stimulus check? That's likely, based on everything, all the momentum in Washington and our nation's capital, that hopefully, if there can be some meeting across the aisle between Republicans and Democrats, like they did on the first stimulus check, that we can get a second stimulus check package passed for so many people out there that desperately need help. Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, President Trump himself, they have commented that there is traction and that there is a good chance that a second stimulus check is possible. But until it's actually signed, sealed, delivered to your home, we don't know for sure what's going to happen. Shannon Tannenbaum, hashtag AJB, but we are not learning. So then the governor is at fault. Leadership is lacking, is Sharon's comment with the hashtag AJB. C. Safo, hashtag AJB, the president is responsible. The governor is listening to Trump, is the comment there. I've seen, and I always ask this because we want to be very, very fair here to both sides. We're always trying to evaluate as many sides of complex issues as possible here on WFLA Now. Are there folks out there that believe that Governor DeSantis has done right by Floridians, that has gone about this the right way? I want to read as many comments as possible from both sides. So if you believe that Governor DeSantis has done a good job for the state of Florida this year in 2020 with handling the COVID-19 pandemic, again, use the hashtag AJB. I'll read your comments here aloud. Gabrielle Noel Donald, hashtag AJB. We parents are so stressed right now. It's maddening. I would imagine that with how the 2019-2020 school year ended, Gabriel, and how there's this looming cloud hanging over the following school year, I would imagine that parents are extremely stressed right now, especially all those working parents out there with multiple kids that don't know what to do with August just right around the corner. Nydia Rodriguez, a WFLA Top Facebook fan. Hello, thanks for watching. Hashtag AJB starts at the top, ends at the bottom. We are all responsible. That's why we gave you that option, everybody. We gave you the option that all Floridians, and I mean all Floridians, including Governor DeSantis, everybody is collectively responsible for COVID-19. We gave you that option in our WFLA Now interactive poll. I want to get to about 1,500 poll results. We're at about, right now, let's see, we're at about 1,300. So let's get another 200 poll results. If you watch for about 3 to 5 minutes, you'll see the poll pop up on your device and you can vote in our interactive poll. And we'll get to that here in just 1 or 2 minutes time. Here, we were talking about this earlier. Donna Panzera Pasquarosa. I think I have that one right. Hashtag AJB, protesters are responsible for the spreading of the virus. DeSantis had it under control until protests broke out. It's the comment there from Donna with the hashtag AJB, talking about protesters and demonstrations in light of the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and others. William Gare, hashtag AJB, the governor has done a good job keeping the number of dead down and leaving it to counties to mandate things, especially in nursing homes. The 3 biggest states in population and land area all have spikes. It's a numbers thing, is the comment there from William. So we were talking about if there's anybody out there watching that had favorable things to say about the governor. There we have a comment there from William, speaking fondly of Governor DeSantis and his response. And then you have Deborah Bouchard, hashtag AJB. DeSantis is doing a horrible job, in all capital letters. Marissa Fagan, hashtag AJB. Again, DeSantis is in a nightmare scenario because he's having to choose between people's livelihoods and their health. And that's what Marissa's commenting here is very similar to the conversation we were having earlier. Several of our commenters have been talking about the difference between, again, people being able to provide for their families, the state of our economy versus their health, the actual COVID-19 crisis here in the state of Florida. Mike Gibson, WFLA top Facebook fan. Hello there to you. I think I read one of your comments earlier, Mike. Hashtag HJB. Yes, he's done a fair job. It's not his fault of speaking about Governor DeSantis. Yeah, Jim Stafford asking for our poll results. We'll have it to you here. We're about 80 or so poll results away here from 1,500. So actually, no, wait. We're about 10 away. So give me about 10 more seconds. We'll read one or two more comments here. I promise. Dina Zacella, hashtag AJB. We are all responsible, especially ones who are careless and not wearing a mask. Edwin Tubbins Jr., hashtag AJB. What is going on over there with the unemployment office not helping people enough? My sister has been waiting since May. She lives in Lehigh County. Yeah, so Edwin, we've been leading the way, WFLA has, on stories regarding unemployment and how outright awful the unemployment system has been for Floridians in such desperate need with what has happened with the COVID-19 pandemic. It was a very vulnerable system. The unemployment system here in Florida was very vulnerable. And once we had that massive surge of people applying for unemployment earlier this year because of COVID, the system just could not keep up. It was not designed to handle that much traffic. And as a result, Floridians didn't get anywhere close to an immediate return on their unemployment claims. It was chaos, quite frankly. It took weeks, months, really, more like months for people to get the money that they had filed for. All right, everybody, let's get to the WFLA Now interactive poll results. We asked you who deserves the most responsibility for Florida's COVID-19 spike. I think that our poll results are at about 1,600 people. So unscientific poll results, as a reminder, there's a science that goes into polls, right? And our poll results are just our Facebook fans, right? So these are unscientific poll results, but they're still revealing. They still tell us a little bit of the story as to how you're feeling out there. And we asked you who deserves the most responsibility for Florida's COVID-19 spike. And above and beyond, by far, the most popular option was Governor DeSantis and state leaders. 900 people even voting for Governor DeSantis and state leaders. That is 51% of the vote. Remember, 4 options, but 51% of the vote going to Governor DeSantis and state leaders. The second most popular response was all Floridians collectively, that we have all deserve responsibility for what is going on here in the state of Florida, up and down the age demographic, up and down the state geographically, from the most high in power to the most low in power, that we all share blame in this. 18%, the third most popular option was 18% with anti-mask and anti-distancing people, or people that just refuse or have not done a good enough job at following mask recommendations and social distancing recommendations. And then lastly, just really not that popular response, only 8% believe that it's the 25 to 34 age demographic, the 25 to 34 age group. So another final few comments that we're going to read through here, but very, very, very one-sided poll results here, everybody. Unscientific, but telling nonetheless that Governor DeSantis and other state leaders deserve a majority of the responsibility for Florida's COVID-19 spike, the spike that really began in June, has continued way too long for our liking here into the month of July, and hopefully does not extend into August, but we'll be here with everybody every step of the way. Annie Sampson Ferrari, hashtag HeyJB. Sorry, but we need to go back to phase 1, is Annie's comment. As a reminder, everybody, we are currently in phase 2. There was phase 1, then full phase 1. I'm not really sure why we had that still to this day. We had phase 1, then full phase 1. or I was calling it phase 1B at the time, but they were calling it, the state leaders were calling it full phase 1, which I thought was, if phase 1 wasn't full phase 1, then what was phase 1 to begin with? I never really fully grasped that, and I thought that was a little bit strange. But we went from phase 1 to full phase 1 to phase 2, and then what came after phase 2 was the agency mandate that bars could no longer sell alcohol for on-site consumption. So that wasn't necessarily part of the phased approach. It was just an added protection in for folks to, I think it was really mainly put in place to dissuade them from, these mass gatherings that were occurring at bars, and they were trying to do that ahead of the holiday weekend, the July 4th holiday weekend. But whether or not, what's more likely, us getting to phase 3 or phase 1? Maybe that's our next poll question for a follow-up a stream here on WFLA Now. Do you think that we're closer? Do you think the next phase that we're going to be in Florida is phase 1 or phase 3? That's a question I think that people are going to, I think that a lot of folks expect Governor DeSantis to remain at phase 2 and mitigate within phase 2 and deal with the issues that we have currently without scaling back to phase 1. Just try to deal with it at a phase 2 level and try to put out all these fires of COVID-19 spikes across the state by remaining in phase 2, and then eventually get to phase 3, hopefully by the fall or towards the end of this year. But then there are so many people out there that are going to be calling for, if these numbers continue to be, calling for going back to phase 1 to help stop the spread and to help stop this resurgence, this back end of the first wave of COVID-19, the resurgence of COVID-19 in the first wave. So many people are going to want to see that happen. All right, last call for comments, everybody. Last call for comments here on WFLA Now. We'll read about a handful more, and then we're going to be wrapping up our stream here. Kate Hart, hashtag AJB. Now we've had 2 holidays with beaches open. Just wait and see what happens next, is the comment there from Kate Hart, a WFLA Top Facebook fan. Paul Orlando, a WFLA Top Facebook fan. Paul, thanks for watching here with us this Monday afternoon as we're getting closer to 1 o'clock Eastern, about to wrap up here. Paul Orlando, hashtag AJB. We just do what our leaders tell us to do. How is this not DeSantis' fault? Is the comment from Paul, the rhetorical question there. Let's see here. Deb Montenegro, hashtag AJB. I think it's time to step back to phase 1 and take responsibility. We have no control in the current phase. It sucks, but we have to step up together. Dina Zacella, hashtag AJB. We have to flatten the curve in Florida in order to wrap up phase 1. Until then, we stay in phase 1. Well, Dina, as a reminder, we're not in phase 1 anymore. We're actually past phase 1. We've been in phase 2 for many weeks. But that's the comment there from Dina, everybody. Again, out of the Facebook Live comment section. Sharon Tannenbaum chiming in again here, hashtag AJB. It's too late. Too many fires. I hope it's not too late. We need to start curving this thing in the right direction rather than the wrong direction. Trent Gray, hashtag AJB. How do we open school? Or with cases continuing to spike, is this even logical? Is the comment from Trent Gray. And again, we're going to be talking more about schools, everybody. 1 or 2 more, and then we gotta get going, everybody. As a reminder, 51% of our poll respondents feel that Governor DeSantis and state leaders deserve the most responsibility for Florida's COVID-19 spike. That is of 4 options. So it's not like 49% of the vote. It was 51% to 3 other options, which included 25 to 34 age group, the anti-mask, anti-distancing people, or all Floridians collectively. And Kimberly Clark Seegers, hashtag AJB. I think it's everyone's responsibility to do what is best for all humans, is the comment from Kimberly Clark Seegers in the Facebook Live comment section. And Angela Nicole Price, hashtag AJB, we open our schools, question mark. What about the safety of children, families, or the school staff? How can we do this? They threaten to defund schools if we don't. And I think that that's going to wrap it up here, everybody, for us on WFLA Now. Again, more stories, including the very latest information for you. It's on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. Big thanks to 8 on Your Side investigator Mahsa Saeidi, who joined us earlier, breaking down some of the new data that we're getting. And it's this data right here. It's hospitalizations specifically with a primary diagnosis of COVID that's available to you. That's going to be available to you in the next few hours, everybody, on WFLA.com and WFLA's app. Look for Mahsa's reporting in our evening newscast tonight, everybody. We appreciate you being here with us. More to come on WFLA Now, WFLA's app, and WFLA.com. We'll see you soon.